Caring about the opinions of other people isn't helping you get towards your goal. Caring about the opinions of other people isn't moving you forwards. Caring about the opinions of other people isn't even making you happy. So why do you care about the opinions of other people? For most people, we live in accordance with what other people want us to live like. We follow the crowd. We stay with the crowd. We don't venture out, and we kind of like to stay in this safe bubble of what we think's safe and what we think's good for us, even if that means ignoring our own brain and just following what someone else wants us to do and live like. We seek validation from people we don't even respect. We start to think more and more about what other people think about us before ourselves, right? Like we put other people before ourselves, even though it's decisions about us. We make something related to someone else, even if the decision or whatever we're doing is about us. We have to make a decision for picking a certain skill or a certain subject in school. We care about what other people think as well. Because if we pick a subject that we enjoy but everyone else finds weird, we're seen as weird. We're seen as the people that are just abnormal, right? Thing is, it's so easy for us to just stay with lower quality people and to just constantly think about what other people perceive us as. So easy for that to happen when we don't have any level of respect for ourselves. For us to change and for us to improve, it requires us in some degree to not care about what other people think. For some people that sounds so difficult, and the reason why it does is because if we've been conditioned our whole life to just think and act in a certain way and to just live up to other people's expectations, it's immediately so hard for us to think outside of that, because anything outside of that's seen as abnormal and strange for our body to react with. We care too much about what other people think, and it just doesn't help us like in any way. I want to change that because I was someone who always cared about what other people thought about me and what I did and all these other things, right? Every single decision that I would make would basically be because of what other people would think about me. I was the biggest people pleaser ever, even if it meant hurting my future self. Like, I would know I'd have school the next day and I would still play video games for an extra 2 hours, even though it'd be like 9 p.m., right? And I think most of it does come from a lack of respect for myself. I have a story about, and I remember it was about 2 years ago, and it was about something that really changed my perspective. And it's something I learned that day that I'll never forget. So I remember on Thursday I think I had English last, so yeah. So I had English, so English is like a subject that you take. If you're in the UK, you know what I'm talking about, like English language, GCSE, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I'd take English, I had English last. And I remember like, as I was walking to the lesson, like there was like a muddy puddle. And no one was like right next to me, but I had people in front and people behind. And I remember as I was walking to like the door bit, I remember like I was outside at this point and I slipped. Obviously, I had no intention of slipping over. I completely just fell over. As I slipped, I fell backwards, and I remember I was just lying flat on my back. And I remember when I was lying flat on my back, I remember I sat up and I stood up straight away, and there was mud all over my trouser leg, and everyone stopped. All the people in front stopped. All the people behind me stopped. And I remember so specifically that when everyone stopped, I was just getting laughed at. Non-stop, I was getting laughed at. And I remember this teacher came through, and she was really sweet. But she came through and she was like, "Are you okay? Like, what happened?" And I remember like she gave me some towels and she helped like clean the trouser because it had mud all over it. But yeah, I remember like she was speaking to me and she would say something like, "Oh, you okay? Like it's normal. This happens." And I remember like as she was talking to me, I remember just hearing the laughter of everyone else from behind me, and I just couldn't concentrate on like what the teacher was saying. For a moment, I just had a bit of resentment, a bit of anger, a bit of annoyance, right? Kind of annoyed at everyone around me. And then for a moment, I just took a, I just took a pause, and I remember I looked around. Everyone was laughing, and what was interesting to note was that I didn't know anyone. They were all people in the year above and the year below that I didn't really know. So it was all people that I genuinely didn't know. I remember from that point that it was just like, why do I care? Right? Why am I getting annoyed? Why am I letting my mind be changed and altered by other people if it doesn't even matter, right? So I remember I remember that day. I remember I went home, I put my trousers in the wash, and I remember I just sat down on my bed and I was just thinking, what did that even mean? Right? I fell over. So I fell over and I had mud all in my trousers and I slipped and everyone saw, right? And everyone was laughing at me. Everyone pointed at, he's the guy that fell over. He's a stupid guy. How are you falling over? This sort of stuff. And I'm glad no one took a video, but yeah, still fell over. I remember like from that evening, I was just like, what does that even mean? You know, like I fell over and I slipped, but what did that even mean? Because the people around me, I didn't even care about, right? Because the people around me, I didn't care about, I didn't know, I didn't respect, I didn't like, I didn't fuck with, I didn't know any of these people. So then I remember from that day, everything changed, and I just genuinely started to just not care because it's just that when we live in accordance to other people and when we start to people please and when we start to just put other people's opinions before us and we start to like care about others too much, what ends up happening is at the same time we end up disregarding ourselves and putting ourselves down, which in my opinion I think is the worst thing that you can do to yourself, is because you're not only giving energy and attention to someone else, but you're downgrading at the same time. And that was just a realization I had like during those moments, that I was giving more attention to other people than myself. And I remember like the next day I saw these guys in school and they laughed at me and they're like, "Oh, you fell over." But I kid you not, 2 weeks later the same people just didn't say anything because I was seen so much. Like every time I'd see them for the first week or so, they would like say, "Oh, this guy fell over, this guy's weird." And then I remember I was just like, after a week, people just don't care, right? People just have their own lives. People just focus on their own shit. That it just doesn't matter, right? Like people just stop caring. And I think that's the most important thing that I could teach. And it's that most people are just so focused on themselves that they shouldn't even be thinking about you. If they're thinking about you, then there's something wrong with them, right? Don't just say that it's your fault. Maybe there could be something wrong with them. Maybe they could be in a bad spot. And the thing is, if people aren't working on themselves and they're not actively like improving their life, why would you care about them, right? Why would you care about those types of people anyway? If they're not improving your life, if they're not giving you a benefit, what would their opinion and what would their point of view and what would their input have any crossover to your life? Like it wouldn't. So it's just like, stop caring. Now I want to say before I finish is that you need to just stop letting other people control your life. They hold you back so much. These types of people, like I don't know how to explain it, but these types of people just hold you back so much. Like it's honestly unbelievable when you really look back at how many times like you could have done something and you just didn't because someone said something, or you had like whispers about people saying stuff about you. Like it's unbelievable. Like it really is unbelievable. Like when you really think about it, you need to learn to stop caring about the opinions of others because, like my story, from that day, it really changed for me. The more you try and please someone, the less they respect you. So the more you try and please someone, the more you try and do things for someone, the less they actually respect you. Like it's like a respect paradox. If you start to find yourself trying to like fit in too much, think about it, right? It's not a bad thing. Think about it. Who is the person? Why are you doing the behavior? And where do they stand? Right? Are they a higher value person? Are they a lower value person? Do they offer any benefits to your life? Like these sorts of questions should really like start to come in when you start thinking more about what other people think. As an actionable step, I know it's going to sound really harsh, and it is genuinely going to be really harsh, but just start saying no. If someone says something, "Oh, do you want to go?" Just say no and walk away. Like I guarantee you, people, you will see so much just trying that, just saying no and walking away, or saying no firmly. This is the thing, caring about the opinions of other people is literally a habit, and just like any bad habit, you can break it. Like it's so I don't know if this is like common, but I think people think that when you care about someone, like, or the opinions of other people, you can't stop. And this is the thing, you can. Like you genuinely can, because with me, I was the biggest people pleaser you'd know, and I was the biggest out of anyone, the person that would care about other people's opinions the most. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, your brain just associates it with nothing bad happening. So then what ends up happening is the more and more good things you do that push you outside of your comfort zone, the more you're able to just grow as a person and just develop into the person you really want to be. There's one more truth, and it's that You're going to die one day. I'm going to die one day, and you're going to die one day. The question you need to ask yourself is, before you die, are you really going to be thinking about the thoughts and opinions of what someone said to you 15 years ago and what that meant? No, you're probably not, right? You're going to be probably thinking of what you could have done, what things you should have improved on. And with that, I think that you just need to just become a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. And I think everything else speaks for it. Put yourself first, learn to respect yourself more, understand that caring too much about the opinions of other people is just going to bring you down more than it is going to bring you up. And you just need to strive for excellence in all aspects. Just try your best and do what is necessary for you to become a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. If this video helped you, make sure you give it a like and make sure you subscribe as well. Just know that with every single step you take with becoming a better person and letting go of what other people think of you, you're becoming a much more happier, healthier person. I think that when you get to this point, when you've genuinely just stopped caring about other people and you genuinely just put yourself first, your life improves so much.